Today, we are going to dive into one of nature's most fascinating stories. I'm talking about the sex life of a flower. And trust me, it's an incredible tale of strategy, epic journeys, and, of course, the creation of life itself. Let's get right into it.
You know, we all look at flowers and think, oh, that's pretty, right? But if you look at it through the eyes of a biologist, it's so much more than that. It's actually a marvel of engineering. Every single petal, every little part, it's all a piece of a super sophisticated machine built for one single purpose: reproduction.
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. Reproduction isn't just some interesting biological function. It is absolutely vital. Without it, a species just can't survive for long. It's the engine that keeps the entire living world going.
So here's the plan for our journey today. We'll start with the flower's real mission, then we'll meet the male and female parts. After that, we'll follow the incredible journey of pollen, witness a really unique event called double fertilization, and finally watch how a flower turns into a fruit and leaves behind the miracle of a seed.
Okay, first things first. What is a flower's secret mission? Because, as we've said, it's about way more than just being a pretty face.
So here it is, the big secret. A flower is the headquarters for sexual reproduction in all flowering plants, what we call angiosperms. Its entire design, this whole embryological marvel, is laser-focused on one main goal: to make fruits and seeds. That's it. That's how the plant makes sure its species continues.
Now, to really understand this whole process, we need to meet the key players. Let's get introduced to the reproductive organs inside the flower. This diagram here gives us a fantastic overview. You can see all the outside parts, like the petals and sepals that we all know. But the real action, the important stuff, happens right in the middle with the reproductive parts. All right, let's break this down. On one side, we have the male part, the stamen. It's got the anther, which is what produces all the pollen. And on the other side, we have the female part, the pistil. This has three sections: the stigma, right at the top, which is like a sticky landing pad for pollen; the style, which is the stalk; and the ovary, down at the base, which holds the future seeds. So now that we know who's who, let's get to the action. This is where the story really gets exciting: the Great Pollen Journey. And this journey has a very important name: pollination. It's basically the transfer of these tiny pollen grains from the male anther to the female stigma. It sounds simple, I know, but this step is absolutely critical. It's the first handshake that kicks off this whole amazing process. But of course, pollen can't just fly over on its own. It needs a ride. It needs help from agents of pollination. Sometimes these are abiotic, non-living things like wind or water. But more often they're biotic, living helpers. We're talking about bees, birds, bats, butterflies. They are all crucial delivery drivers in this process. So once a pollen grain finally makes a successful landing on the right stigma, its work is not done. Not at all. It actually germinates and grows a tiny little tube, a pollen tube, that tunnels all the way down through the style, making a beeline for the ovary. Its final destination, an ovule, where it's going to deliver its very precious cargo. And this brings us to the climax of our story. Something truly special, something unique only to flowering plants, a process called double fertilization. Now, what makes this so special? Well, it's not just one fusion event, it's two. Two separate fusions that happen almost at the same time deep inside the embryo sac. This two-part process is a signature move of all flowering plants. It's their thing. So here's how this double act works. The pollen tube releases two male gametes. The first one fuses with the egg cell. We call this syngamy. And this forms the zygote, which is going to become the new baby plant, the embryo. Then, the second male gamete fuses with two other nuclei in the central cell. This is called triple fusion, and it creates something called the primary endosperm nucleus. And this table just lays it all out beautifully. It shows the sheer genius of this system. Syngamy makes the embryo, the future plant, and triple fusion makes the endosperm, which is basically a packed lunch for the embryo. It's food to help it grow. One fusion creates life, the other one provides the food for it. How efficient is that?
So, the main event, double fertilization, is complete. What happens now? Well, the flower begins a really dramatic transformation.
After fertilization, it's like a complete makeover starts. The tiny zygote starts developing into the embryo. The ovule, which was protecting it, matures and hardens into a seed. At the same time, the ovary around it starts to swell up and ripen, becoming the fruit. And what about those beautiful petals? Well, their job is done, so they just wither and fall away. This whole complicated, elegant process leads to one of nature's most incredible inventions, the seed. So, what's the big deal about seeds? Well, for one, they are the final product of this whole process, carrying a brand new genetic mix for the next generation. They can also go into a dormant state, basically slipping, just waiting for the right time to grow. And for us humans, oh my God, their importance cannot be overstated. Our ability to store seeds is literally the foundation of all agriculture.
So just how tough can a seed be? Look at this number, 10,000 years. That's how old a lupine seed was that they found frozen in the Arctic tundra. And the crazy part? When they planted it, it actually germinated and grew into a flower. Unbelievable.
And if that wasn't mind-blowing enough, here's another one. 2,000 years. An ancient seed from a date palm found at an archaeological dig near the Dead Sea. And guess what? It was also viable. They planted it, and it grew. Just amazing.
So what's their secret? How do they pull off this incredible time travel trick? Well, it's because mature seeds get rid of most of their water and go into a state of dormancy, kind of like suspended animation. This allows them to survive for centuries, and it's what lets us store them, eat them, and of course plant them to grow crops next year.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've just followed the incredible journey from one flower to one tiny seed. Now, just try to imagine a big tree with thousands and thousands of flowers. The sheer potential for new life held within that one tree, it's just immense, isn't it? It really makes you appreciate the power of the natural world. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.